found that through the Brewster Prouty line, we are related to quite a few presidents and signers of the Declaration of Independence. For instance, William Whipple, who comes from Massachusetts, actually Ipswich, Massachusetts. And as I researched, continuing in the Ipswich and Scituate, Massachusetts line, I also found that my husband has direct relations with me. We share the same grandparents during that time, about 300 years ago. So this just keeps spawning my interest, and I want to keep going with it. William Whipple was he was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. He lived in Massachusetts and I believe ended up settling in Virginia. It's just the fact that we have a family member that was one of the original signers. I mean, our family history is so ingrained in this country, it's just very overwhelming sometimes of what I can find. I also found through the Prouty line a missionary by the name of Cyrus Shepherd, who came to Oregon with missionary Jason Lee in the early 1800s after Lewis and Clark. And through that line, I found that we're related to him directly, and we also have the first white child born in Oregon in 1830, non-Native American. So it makes you pretty proud that you're kind of related to these people that have such great history in our country here. My great-great-grandfather, Lucien Bonaparte Prouty, was a judge in Pueblo, Colorado in the 1860s, and he had a friend by the name of John Brown, and John Brown came to visit him before he did the attack on Harper's Ferry. So that was interesting to find out. There's just so many stories that have been put together. I have over 40,000 ancestors in my line now and I keep finding more as I go back even further, trying to find other stories. It's just, I just keep going. We also had other descendants on the Mayflower from the Prouty lineage, and as far back as I have found a Prouty that settled in Plymouth Colony around 1627 was the earliest I could find in this country. Came over from England. The stories are significant to me because I'm a strong believer in my country, and I want to just know the history and how my family had a big part of that. The Prouty lineage I have researched as far back to about the year 200 AD, quite far back, and it's mainly in the England and Wales area. And there's quite a few relations to kings and queens, and so that's pretty interesting. You know, you have some royalty in your blood. The Prouty side of my family also, there's a line that goes to Denmark from my grandmother and my dad's mom, and that line goes in, well, began in Norway as far as I can tell. So there's some Scandinavian there. My grandfather, my dad's dad, Charles Prouty, he served in World War I in France in 1917. He was a bacteriologist, and he worked, after the war, he went to work at Washington State University in the bacteriology department, and with a team of other men, they basically invented cheese in a can. It's called Cougar Gold cheese. We have the drawings for that. They talked about how they fermented the cheese inside the can, and they used to take the cans to ferment under Mount St. Helens in the bat caves. Obviously, probably not there anymore, but there were a lot of bat caves under there, and they fermented the cheese there. And so the cheese is still being made to this day, and they made the cheese for the soldiers in World War II because it wouldn't spoil. So it's a cool piece of history that, when I go over there, I say, hey, I'm a Prouty, and they say, that's, pretty cool. Your grandfather was involved in that cheese making.